What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for AEW Rampage and SmackDown Supersized review for October 15, 2021. This was a special night because, of course, AEW Rampage is on TNT from 10 to 11, whereas SmackDown, because of the MLB playoffs, is on FS1. And as you know, over the last 3 years, the ratings for FS1 are garbage. SmackDown hardly gets viewed because when it comes down to it, almost nobody has the FS1 compared to like a TNT, USA, TBS, or any other of those other stations that have wrestling on them. I mean, the only other station that has a lower viewership count is Access TV. That's about it. So SmackDown on FS1, so they decided we're going to go an extra half an hour because AEW's competition, and we don't want to have SmackDown's ratings look like shit compared to AEW ratings, which tonight's show was live with CM Punk versus Matt Sydal in a banger of a match. And a trios match of the Inner Circle versus Junior Dos Santos and the Men of the Year, which that match I could really give two shits about. But since SmackDown decided to go a half an hour over, AEW decided, Tony Khan decided we're going to do a buy-in on YouTube. Main evented by Bryan Danielson and Minoru Suzuki. We're also having Bobby Fish versus Lee Moriarty and Tay Conti versus Santana Garrett. And we'll talk about those matches here in a second. We'll get to SmackDown later because honestly, outside of this opening match, outside of Edge's promo, which was good, the opening match for the King of the Ring semifinals, which had a predictable outcome, and the Usos versus the Street Profits, even though we've seen that match a million times, this show was shit. So let's talk about where things were good. Now, we start on the Rampage buy-in. Excalibur, Ricky Starks, and Taz are your commentators. It looks like they're going to be your Rampage commentators for the foreseeable future. Jericho, of course, was not on commentary because he was in the main event match on the hour-long Rampage. So, Tay Conti versus Santana Garrett was your opening match. Santana Garrett actually got her entrance, which was cool beans on that. Now, this match wasn't a very long match, but it shouldn't have been. Santana Garrett is not signed to AEW. Santana Garrett isn't one of the top ranked women in the AEW women's division, so there is no reason why this match needed to go 10, 15 minutes or whatever. Yes, it was about a 6-minute match, but, and this is a big but, and this is where WWE shows are going to fucking be stupid. We've been complaining for the last week that the Queen's Crown tournament has been absolutely useless, pointless, and has disrespected the women's division. Why would we say that? Because every single match has not eclipsed more than 3 minutes, and that includes tonight. This match, of course, was about 5.5 minutes. That's as long as these two got. But anybody who sits there and goes, "Oh well, you guys want to complain about AEW, about WWE's and women's matches going short. What about Tay Conti and Santana Garrett?" Well, Santana Garrett should not last very long with Tay Conti. Tay Conti's in the top 5 of the women's division, so this match should have been a short match, and Tay Conti, of course, wins the match. Nothing special, not a special match here. Tay Conti, good as ever. Santana Garrett does what she can. Was a short match. Conti hooks the leg, hits the TD tie, and wins the match. There you go. Then we get a long opening match, a long opening promo for the Inner Circle and American Top Team. I really did not care. This was annoying. Now, coming up in MLW, they have the MLW Opera Cup, which Bobby Fish and Lee Moriarty are actually facing each other in that show. It was not mentioned on TV tonight, on YouTube tonight, unless I missed that. But they're having a match. So before that match happens, you have Lee Moriarty and Bobby Fish. A Bobby roar rings through the crowd seconds after the bell sounds. Bobby Fish, Lee Moriarty did a lot in this match. Brian Alvarez was asked about ring psychologies tonight. today on the Wrestling Observer, and he gave his explanation of what ring psychology is to him. Well, you got that in this match as Lee Moriarty worked over Bobby Fish and got his arm and injured his arm. And by the time this match was over, they weren't screaming Bobby. They were chanting Lee, 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 Lee. Up until the final pinfall where Bobby Fish picked up the win, the fans were chanting for Lee. It went from Bobby Fish and everyone chanting for Bobby and wanting Bobby Fish to do what he can, to getting Lee Moriarty's name chanted over and over. That's how great this match worked. Bobby Fish, in his 2 matches in AEW, has done more to elevate talent in AEW than anything he did in WWE. Yes, I know that he was the NXT Tag Team Champions. Yes, he was in 4 War Games matches. But they were on top from this beginning. The Undisputed Era, from the day they made their debut to the day they broke up, they were on top in NXT. They really didn't put many talents over, didn't elevate really much of anybody past them because they were the top guys. But Sammy Guevara looked great in his match against Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish made Lee Moriarty look like $1,000,000. And the crowd, like I said, went from chanting and wanting and ripping and roaring about Bobby Fish to chanting Lee's name at the end. A lot of people opened their eyes to Lee Moriarty for this entire match. So Moriarty escapes but gets caught with an exploder straight towards the rope. Fish lines him up and hits the big, huge roundhouse kick KO to the head. 1, 2, 3. Bobby Fish picks up his first victory in All Elite Wrestling. He will, of course, take on Bryan Danielson tomorrow night in a special episode of Saturday Night All Elite Wrestling on TNT. That's going to be a match, and that match is going to probably open the show, which would be the smart thing for them to do. So, my God, I can't even go into this match. Bryan Danielson, Minoru Suzuki. 30-minute time limit. They gave them the last half of this entire show. This was fucking awesome. If you were watching SmackDown, where you have the Usos and the Street Profits having a street fight for the millionth time, facing each other for the millionth time, you got Minoru Suzuki and Bryan Danielson, who haven't wrestled each other since 2004, for free on YouTube, and you didn't have to pay a dime. If you weren't watching this match, you are a dumbass. Yes, I know, it's on YouTube. If you have FS1 or you happen to have FS1 on your TV, you could watch both. But honestly, I had FS1 playing on my phone so I could keep coverage of that match. That match was nothing special. It was a fucking by the numbers extreme hardcore match. Who cares? You got Bryan Danielson and Minoru Suzuki. We got a "This is Wrestling" chant 2 or 3 minutes into this match. They hadn't even done much, and we got a "This is Wrestling" chant. These two beat the fuck out of each other. Bryan Danielson took a giant shot, elbow to the face from Minoru Suzuki, who just lined him up and just elbowed him in the face. He dropped. I'm like, oh shit, did he just kill Bryan Danielson? Bryan Danielson laid motionless on the mat for at least a minute or two. Holy shit, that was nasty. Of course, eventually Bryan Danielson gets up, he gets pissed off, he's hammering, he's beating this guy up, trying to get the cattle mutilation on Minoru Suzuki, but Suzuki counters it every single time. Back and forward, chops from Suzuki, kicks from Danielson. This was amazing. This match went at least 27 minutes. But both men are giving it all with back and forth elbows. Smash Suzuki sidesteps Bryan Danielson, who's coming off the ropes and tries to lock in the sleeper. Danielson counters with a backdrop. Suzuki hits a running knee. Bryan immediately goes to the pin, hooks the leg, 1, 2, 3, and Bryan Danielson beats Minoru Suzuki. This is Bryan Danielson's third or fourth match, if I'm correct, fourth match in AEW, because he had the tie, he beat Nick Jackson, and he had the 8-man where his team lost. This is his second match of the year candidate. If this ain't a 5-star match in your book, I don't know what you fucking call professional wrestling, because this was fantastic. Bryan Danielson, A fucking plus against Minoru Suzuki. It was everything you wanted in a Minoru Suzuki Bryan Danielson match. Submission attempts, submissions, hard-hitting shots. Bryan Danielson goes down from a devastating elbow shot. I couldn't ask for more for this match. This was fantastic. And I believe they said this on commentary. They hope for this rematch to happen soon. And honestly, in my opinion, out of the two match of the year candidates Bryan Danielson had, I'd rather see Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki in 2022 before Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. Like, Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki should happen at Revolution, if they can get that to happen. And then Kenny Omega can take Bryan Danielson on at Double or Nothing. But those two rematches are going to be fire. This was awesome. Again, if you hadn't seen this match yet, you are a dumbass. So that was the AEW Rampage buy-in. What happened on Rampage? Well, I'll tell you what happened on Rampage. We had Matt Sydal make his entrance before the buy-in ended, because we were going straight into the match, commercial-free, Matt Sydal versus CM Punk. These guys have wrestled 4 times apparently before. 2 times, the last 2 times were in WWE when Matt Sydal was Evan Bourne. They wrestled at least 2 times. I found them. They're both on YouTube if you want to go check them out, or highlights of them are. This was a banger of a match. Was this as good as the previous match? No, not even close. But it was still a hell of a match. Matt Sydal, CM Punk. They've wrestled before. They've wrestled before multiple times, like 4 times at least. It's like these guys could have wrestled each other countless times. It was just that good of a fucking match. But what can I say? The only thing that I can really say is how CM Punk came out with the short tights on today and not the long boys. Just back and forth action between these two. Hammer strikes, kicks. Matt Sydal trying to do his high-flying stuff. CM Punk not allowing him to do it. Now, Matt Sydal actually hits the lightning spiral, goes for the pin, just an eyelash away from unseating Punk. Punk goes for the last lap by the skin of his teeth. He hits the GTS for the overall victory after a 17-year delay. Both these men know how to create past chemistry. Yes, they do. Now, the question is, of course, who beats CM Punk? Who is the first man to beat CM Punk? My answer is MJF. MJF would be the best pick to beat CM Punk the first time. So, yeah. How do you get to CM Punk versus MJF? That's neither here nor there right now. They'll get to that eventually. But CM Punk's not losing to just Matt Sydal, somebody he's wrestled many years before. He's not going to lose to a Daniel Garcia who's not up there in the upper echelon. CM Punk should be the final obstacle for MJF before MJF takes the crown as AEW World Champion. Because that, in my opinion, should be the guy to beat Hangman Adam Page when Hangman Adam Page wins the AEW World title at Full Gear, where that match is going to happen. Speaking of Full Gear, there was this thing going on where Tony Khan apparently at the Jacksonville Jaguars game had a notebook and someone took a picture, blew it up, and somehow interpreted the entire card for Full Gear. Outside of Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, nothing on there is final. For all we know, Tony Khan just saw the picture and I'm like, how are you guys reading this as anything? It looked like a bunch of scribble. I couldn't read a damn thing on that notebook. So CM Punk versus whoever. Now, the biggest one that they had on that page was Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. The only way that match happens if it is the finals to the AEW Eliminator Tournament. Makes no sense because they're both baby faces, and the only reason you would go with Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley is if you're going to have Kenny Omega retain, which would be a fucking mistake because you've been building up Adam Hangman Page for 2 years for the moment that's going to happen at Full Gear of him winning the AEW World Championship. So I don't buy that outside of that match, Hangman versus Omega, that any of those matches are final. And of course, Tony Khan has his 2 cents on it, saying he finds it amusing how anyone thinks that he leaked the entire Full Gear card. So how about we just wait to see what happens for Full Gear as the weeks come. Tomorrow we'll find out the brackets for the Eliminator Tournament going into Full Gear, and next Friday, which unfortunately is going to be a tape show, we will have that tournament kicked off. So that will be very interesting to see what happens there. So after the match and after we come back from commercial break, because as soon as the match was over, they cut the commercial because, again, commercial free to deal with WWE and their shit. The Dark Order are happy that Power Hangman is back. They want a match with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks because they feel they're going to interfere with Hangman, Adam Page, and Kenny Omega's match at Full Gear, and they want to put a stop to that. So that could be a match we see at the pay-per-view. It could be the Dark Order versus the Super Click to get the Super Click away from Hangman and Kenny Omega. It wasn't announced for tomorrow. It could be next week. It could be at the pay-per-view. Who knows? Ruby Soho versus the Bunny. This match was better than I thought it was going to be because the Bunny just, if I'm going to be honest, the Bunny is meh. The Bunny is just meh in the ring. Ruby Soho, of course, gets the win. This, of course, is leading up to next week as well. We will find out the brackets on next Friday. Who's going to be in the TBS Women's Champion, the TBS title tournament, and who's going to be facing who. I expect that tournament to start in December, culminating in the finals being on that first night on TBS, which will probably have some kind of gimmick name for the show. So we'll see what happens there. After Ruby Soho, of course, wins the match, Penelope Ford, who was not at ringside, surprisingly, attacks Ruby Soho from behind, lays the beat down on her. They beat her up in the ring. Bunny holds Ruby Soho up, and Penelope Ford with the knuckles to the face. And you're wondering, where's the babyface? Who's going to help Ruby Soho? If you haven't listened to anything Ruby Soho said, she doesn't have any friends. Why would anybody come out to help Ruby Soho when Ruby Soho came to AEW and has no friends? Unless Sarah Rowe is coming to AEW to be a member of the roster, which she was there the night Ruby made her debut. In the back, they showed it on their post-show, something they did on their YouTube channel after the fact. But unless she's coming to be a part of AEW and wrestle, which she possibly could, who knows? There's nobody who's going to help Ruby Soho because Ruby Soho only has 2 friends, and that's Liv Morgan over in WWE and Sarah Rowe, who is a free agent right now and being a mom. Also, next Saturday will be Pac versus Andrade El Idolo 2. First match, of course, was mired in controversy, which, of course, Chavo got fired from his post with Andrade because he had to be written off due to his commitments to Young Rock. We expect to see Chavo back later this year. Of course, tomorrow night we have Bryan Danielson versus Bobby Fish. They announced Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta. You have the AAA Tag Team Championships with Andrade El Idolo's Masked Men versus the Lucha Bros. We have no idea who's under the masks. And the only 2 I can think of, unless AEW would have to have some kind of deal with Ring of Honor, the only 2 friends that I know of Andrade's for sure are Roosh and Dragon Lee. That is it. I don't know anybody else who could be under those masks. We'll see. We will definitely see. We also will find out the bracket to the Eliminator Tournament tomorrow. It should be a good one. If they really want to do Rampage right next week, which it kicks off, they will have 2 matches for Rampage going up next week, going for the Eliminator Tournament on Friday, and then, of course, next Saturday. And then we go back to AEW on television on Wednesday night, 2 weeks from yesterday, from this past Wednesday. So on the 27th, we'll be back on Wednesday night. Man, I can't wait to go to TBS so we don't have to have these preemptions as often. I fully expect them to have preemptions still next year. So, Then we had the Inner Circle versus the Men of the Year and Junior Dos Santos. I didn't give a fuck about this. I really didn't. Jericho had the walls of Jericho on. Jorge Masvidal runs in, blindsides Jericho with a hitting and running knee strike. And the American Top Team pick up the win. This is going to lead to Full Gear. That is one of those matches that was on the paper. Full Gear, supposed to be the American Top Team versus the Inner Circle, which would be all 5 of them. The sooner this shit is over and Dan Lambert and his goons can get the fuck off my TV, the fucking better. Outside of that match, Rampage was the outside of like CM Punk versus Matt Sydal. Everything else just you could skip the rest of the show. The stars of the show were on the buy-in, plain and simple. Lee Moriarty had gotten more fans tonight due to his match on this show on the buy-in. So yeah, there's that. Let's talk about the super-sized edition of SmackDown, which goes an hour and half an hour later. So earlier today, they announced that the Street Profits will take on the Usos in a tag team title match. Why? The Street Profits got drafted to Raw. After next Thursday, they are property of SmackDown. On Monday Night Raw. They will not be on SmackDown anymore. RK Bro and AJ Styles and Omos, both teams got drafted to Monday Night Raw. Why would anybody think that this match was going to have any other outcome than the Usos picking up the win? And on top of that, WWE is not going to take the titles off of the Usos anytime soon until they get confirmation, signed, sealed, and delivered that they are going to either have The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, or they're going to have The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 39. So there was no reason for this match. You had the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament, Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn. Predictable outcome because Sami Zayn is not allowed in Saudi Arabia. If the finals were taking place next week on Raw, and we would have or on SmackDown or whatever, on a show that he could go to, then you would have had a better idea of what could happen on this show. Having Sami Zayn in this tournament, when you first look at it, it's like, yeah, Sami Zayn winning the King of the Ring would have been awesome because it would be great for his character. But then you realize, oh shit, the finals are happening in Saudi Arabia, then why should I care? Sami Zayn was not winning. Finn Balor goes to the finals. If Xavier Woods beats Jinder Mahal on Monday and goes to the finals, Finn Balor needs to turn heel, cheating to win and becoming the evil King Balor. Because he's called the Prince right now, but Balor needs to turn heel. He's going to Monday Night Raw. He needs a new attitude. He needs something new. He was good on NXT for that heel run that eventually turned him into a babyface again because they didn't have enough babyfaces to go up against him, or they had way too many heels, one or the other. And yeah, I would rather see this go that way. So that was that. Edge and Seth Rollins give their final thoughts on the Hell in a Cell they will be facing off against at Crown Jewel, which, again, I am not watching because outside of the first one, which I'm going to be honest, I really didn't feel comfortable sitting there watching the first, what was it, Royal Rumble, the Greatest Royal Rumble. I did not feel comfortable watching that. So there's that. Now, here we go. Let's see. Edge came out to start the show. He talked about everything, how he should have seen Rollins going to his house, his home. Not his house, his home. A house is just a wall, a building with a home is just a place with 4 walls. This was his home. But he should have seen it coming because he reminded everybody what he did back when he went to John Cena Sr.'s home, and slapped the taste out of his mouth. So he's just ready for the match in Hell in a Cell. He drops the mic, looks ahead, and the music hits. He announces type Hell in a Cell. King of the Ring semifinals match: Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn. This was a good match. Of course, Sami Zayn immediately, just like he did last week, tries to go for the heel kick immediately. doesn't work. So they had themselves a nice size match. I think it was like 10 minutes, which the King of the Ring matches go about 10 minutes. The women's matches, and this statistic came up on Wrestling Observer again today. Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida last Wednesday had a match. It went over 10 minutes. Before tonight's Queen's Crown tournament match, it lasted longer than the entire Queen's Crown tournament first round combined. That's sad. Balor with a running dropkick in the corner. He goes back up top. He hits the coup de grace, covers, pins, and moves on to the finals. So Finn Balor is in. And if Jinder Mahal goes in to face Finn Balor, it would not surprise me if we make Jinder Mahal king, because WWE wants to give us another cringe run of Jinder Mahals. I don't want that. Still, the Crown Reigns and Lesnar will sign their Crown Jewel contracts. Nobody cares. We get a video. They did a lot of this tonight. They hyped up Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and the New Day coming to SmackDown. Oh yeah, and shit realm. Let's talk about that in a minute. But where the WWE wants to hype up talent coming to another brand of established stars. Everyone knows who the New Day are. Everyone knows who Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are. I just don't. And I think they did one for the Raw Women's Champion. Which, by the way, there was a commercial tonight. For whatever reason, Charlotte 9000 will put her Raw Women's title on the line against Bianca Belair. For no reason other than just to do it. The big reason is, and this match on Monday will tell you who's winning at Crown Jewel in the triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca's not winning, and if she was to win the Raw Women's title on Monday, they should take her out of the SmackDown Women's title match and just make it Sasha versus Becky. Oh, that's right, you gave that match away tonight for free. Anyway, if Bianca Belair wins the Raw Women's title on Monday, Sasha Banks walks out of Crown Jewel as your Raw SmackDown Women's Champion. The titles stay on those separate brands, and we move on. If Bianca does not win the title on Monday for whatever reason, then Becky's going to retain, and then they're going to do a title swap, just like they did last year for the tag team titles. So it will be very interesting to see what they do on Monday. So we get a video package looking at Paul Heyman's involvement in the current feud between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And then we go to Naomi, who's excited to be back in the ring for the first time in many, many months. So she comes out, she's excited, she's ready to go. Sonya Deville comes out and says, cut her music, hold on. And tells her, you really need to stop leaving my office before I'm done talking to you. Because I wasn't done talking to you. You're going to face me and Shayna Baszler. Which, of course, Shayna Baszler comes out, and it was supposed to be a 2-on-1 handicap match with one in, one out. Sonya says, no, this is a 2-in, 1-out, 2-on-1. Right now, you're going to ring the bell. Rudy Charles goes and rings the bell. Yes, that's probably not his name in WWE, but I know him as Rudy Charles from Impact Wrestling, so I'm going to call him Rudy fucking Charles. And Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville pretty much just destroy Naomi. It wasn't even that much of a contest. Shayna chokes her out, throws her down, and Sonya Deville pins her. I still want to know what is her beef with fucking Naomi. I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So Naomi comes in and says, hey, Deville, can I please have a match next week? And then for whatever reason, Deville, week in and week out, just kept delaying. For what reason? What did she do to you to make you so mad that you do not let her wrestle and you pretend like she doesn't even exist? I don't understand it. Now, we got a promo for Shit Row. I'm going to call him Shit Row until Top Dollar AJ Francis shuts his fucking mouth on social media. I don't give a shit if he's trying to work fans, if he's trying to work the business or whatever. This guy looks like a fool every single time he sends something out there. This guy was in NXT for a couple months. Not even a year. Couple months. And not a word Nothing, just as normal, stupid shit back and forth. The moment this stupid fucker got drafted to SmackDown, he goes up on Twitter and starts saying, hey, we're going to succeed because we can promo, unlike everyone else who's failed. Kevin Owens can't promo. Finn Balor can't promo. Bray fucking Wyatt can't fucking promo. Give me a break. This week, this dumb fuck decides, I'm going to go after the Young Bucks. Because they had nothing to do with my company, I'm going to go after them and talk shit on the fact that they are, every that week on BTE, they buy themselves new pairs of Jordans. And he decides he's going to go after them. The Young Bucks ain't going to take that shit lying down. They're going to take shots back. Saying on their bio, they bought more sneakers in the month of September than all of NXT. So this motherfucker's name, Top Dollar AJ Francis, gets trending on Twitter. And this dumb fuck thinks, oh, that's because I'm so good. I'm such a good rapper. This guy has got his head so far up in the goddamn clouds when he walks into SmackDown next week and is given that script, this is your promo, this is what you're going to say. What's he going to say then? This guy thinks he's on top tier level because he got drafted to SmackDown. He thinks he's up there with the Roman Reigns, the Paul Heyman, the Brock Lesnar, the John Cena, when he hasn't done a goddamn thing. This motherfucker can't even wrestle. And he's out there talking and having shit come out of his mouth week in and week out. I hope he fucking fails. I want Hurt Row to fail because of his ass. And it's a shame. Isaiah Scott is a damn good wrestler. Shanti Theodonis, I haven't seen him wrestle. I heard he's actually not that bad. B-Fab shouldn't not be anywhere near the wrestling ring. If she wants to be on the outside and be a manager for them, that is fine. But Top Dollar AJ Francis is no top dollar. This guy is worth $0. He hasn't done a damn thing to earn any fucking respect. So the fact that he wants to go out there, disrespect the fans, disrespect the other competition because they're actually competition, and just wants to go out there and be a fucking asshole about things. And here's the thing. He goes out there, he talks his shit. Anybody disagrees with him. Anybody speaks facts that he calling him, hey, saying, dude, you're being a jackass, you're being stupid. He blocks them. You want to know why? Because Top Dollar AJ Francis is a soft pussy. He ain't nothing but a fucking pussy. He goes out there behind it. He's a keyboard warrior, going out there, typing up things and making him sound like a big bad motherfucker. When somebody calls him out on his shit, he gets hurt, he gets butthurt, and he blocks them because he can't handle the fucking truth. He will be gone from WWE within the next year. Count on it. Top Dollar, I hope you were studying how WWE treated sanity. You ain't a Vince McMahon project, by the way. You were Triple H's project. You should be thanking your lucky stars you even have fucking time on TV because Triple H put you with Isaiah Scott, who is the face of your team. He is the man who should be high up in the upper echelons of the mid-card scene, maybe one day being a world champion, but guess what? Your asses were not made or created by Vince McMahon. You're being brought up to the main roster to be buried, to punish Triple H for losing the Wednesday Night War. You're just too stupid to not realize that yet. So what are you going to say if you're on TV next week being handed a script saying, this is your promo, no edits, no nothing, that's all you get to say, you can't go off script, I don't care, we don't care, this is what Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and the entire creative team came up with, you don't like it, too fucking bad. Are you going to come on Twitter and apologize? No, you're going to act like this big bad motherfucker who can't go out there and wrestle a goddamn match. So hey, Top Dollar, shut your fucking mouth, go out there and prove to people why we should give a fuck about you before you start opening your mouth anymore. How about that? I'm sure Isaiah Scott's sitting back going, man, this guy needs to shut up. Because this is a way, and yeah, of course, Vince McMahon wants to see his guys talk shit on the competition. But when Top Dollar goes out there and has to cut a shitty-ass, cringy-ass promo that the creative team came up with, or Vince McMahon himself came up with, and he fails, he won't be long for WWE at all. I will not expect, and we've seen, what, 3 promos for this shit row. We've seen a couple promos for them. Watch they come out. They might win their first match because Isaiah Swift Scott deserves to do something. They might even come out and lose their first match. Why should anyone care? Top Dollar is doing more harm to WWE, more harm to this group than any good. You can talk all the shit you want, motherfucker, but until you actually go out there and do something, you actually show us that you actually are good in this company, instead of being coming up green as grass. Green as the greenest grass you could find in the world. That's how green you are. Until you go out there and can actually fucking wrestle without hurting yourself or somebody else, and can actually, hell, do a fucking clothesline, run the ropes without looking like shit. Actually wrestle and make people give a shit about you. Shut up. Just shut the fuck up. Moving on. No hype for the contract signing. Backstage cutting a promo on how she may make history right now. Right some rounds when she wins the SmackDown Women's title, Crown Jewel. Banks says last week it was Bianca Belair. Tonight it'll be Becky Lynch who gets a big time beatdown. Colin Mack, we go over the Crown Jewel card. We go to the ring. Out comes Rollins. And what the hell was this guy wearing? He got a Harley Quinn chant because he looked like he stole the OG Harley Quinn's get up. My God, man. Who is his tailor and where is he getting these suits from? I look at this guy and I'm like, what the hell, Seth? All I know is it's working for Seth, but these promos, man, this promo, it felt like it was going on forever and ever and ever and ever. I'm sitting there like, Seth, come on. Now, this promo started when Rampage's buy-in started. So you had this or Santana Garrett versus Tay Conti. Of course, I went with Rampage buy-in because that was actually good shit. This was Seth Rollins just, again, talking about how he's better than Edge in every single way. Edge is finally coming to that, but he has one ace in the hole, and that's Hell in a Cell. And Seth Rollins is not afraid of Hell in a Cell. He's been scarred. He's been beat up. And there's no way Edge is 100%, especially with Hamilton late. Rollins says he sees it because he's a revolutionary and a visionary. He sees Seth freaking Rollins. Stares ahead, drops the mic, and starts Rollins exit the ring. We go to the Queen's Crown tournament match. Zelina Vega versus Carmella before the match. Well, in the back, Zelina Vega's like, you know what? You don't have to wear your mask tonight. I'm not going to hit you in the face. We're not going to hit you on the face. We're going to have a good, clean match. Let's go out there and show them why we are the best in the world. I wanted to barf. Carmella sucks. Zelina Vega is not much better. Zelina Vega's best role is as a manager. She did her best work in NXT and on the main roster when she was managing Andrade. The minute they broke those two up and she went on to be a wrestler, her career just down the tubes. And here's another thing. She came back a couple weeks before Money in the Bank and had lost for 7, 8, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, 11 weeks in a row. Just lost every single match she was in. So she beats Toni Storm last week, and now I'm supposed to believe that this woman is actually worth a damn? She beat Toni Storm in 1 minute and 26 seconds. Tonight, she beats Carmella in 2 minutes and 56 seconds. How did she beat her? Well, she got kicked in the face by Carmella. Carmella tries to apologize, so Zelina Vega attacks her, starts hitting her in the face, so Carmella goes down to a lady and is like, no, we need to get my mask on. We need to get my mask on. Carmella turns around and is like, no, time out. I gotta get my mask on. Turns back around. Liv Morgan has her mask. Goes to punch her. She gets back in the ring, gets rolled up 1, 2, 3. And 2 minutes and 56 seconds later, Zelina Vega is moving on to the finals. If Shayna Baszler does not beat Piper Niven on Monday and then goes to the finals to kill Zelina Vega, you lost your damn mind. Zelina Vega, of course, did the same thing that Sami Zayn did last week, and she sat on the throne, and she put the crown on and held the scepter, telling you right now she's not winning. That's the sign of, hey, you're not winning. Sami Zayn did it last week. Jinder Mahal did it this past Monday. And now Zelina Vega did it this week. So, Zelina Vega, and the reason you want Zelina Vega versus Shayna Baszler, they're going to Saudi Arabia. This match is going to last less than a minute. Get it in, get it out, get it done. The SmackDown Women's title match needs to be a quick match too, because Saudi Arabia do not like women doing anything like this. If I'm correct, when Lacey Evans took on Natalya during her entrance, a bottle got thrown at Natalya's head. Why WWE thinks they can even would even do this and this would be okay is beyond me. Back to the ring, we see another episode of Happy Talk. Do not care about this. Bad jokes, fart jokes, fat jokes, and a bunch of other stupid jokes. Rick Boogs comes out. He plays for the Intercontinental Champion because he can't be called the True King anymore, as he gave up the crown last week. They play Nakamura's music. They circle around the ring and head out. So obviously, they're heading towards Shinsuke Nakamura versus Happy Corbin sometime down the road. The Street Profits come out, and we have ourselves a tag team match. This is towards the end of the show, almost. And I'm thinking, you watch this match, or you pay attention and you watch a match of the year candidate in Bryan Danielson and Minoru Suzuki. Dawkins pretty much in this match, you had the Street Profits getting their asses beat. Kendo stick shot after kendo stick shot. The Dawkins Ford tries to go up into a splash. They Usos sandwich Dawkins with super kicks in the middle of the ring. Double splash. 1, 2, 3. The Usos win. If you've seen these guys wrestle before, you've seen it before. You've seen it again. Only with weapons this time. Did not give a shit. Usos celebrate. Good on them. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks. This match again. What happened on Monday dampened me. If this match, this women's match that's happening on Crown Jewel between these two women, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, and Becky Lynch. If this match was happening anywhere, doesn't matter where, after the shit they pulled on Monday, I don't give a shit. You have soured me from wanting to see these two women work, and these are two of your best fucking workers in the last 10, 15 years, probably ever. And I did not give a shit. Rampage started. CM Punk versus Matt Sydal was a damn good match. This match was meh. Banks wins thanks to distraction by Bianca Belair. All you can say about that. After the match, Banks celebrates and music hits. Belair smiles from ringside and taunts Becky. Adam Pearce comes down and yells at the crew members to get the ring and set it up for the contract signing. He's rushing them as Becky, Banks, and Belair suddenly wrap their segment. We get a big main event Crown Jewel. The big main event at Crown Jewel, music hits, and out comes the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman, they stop on stage, blah, blah, blah. Out comes Brock Lesnar. They do their thing. Brock Lesnar comes out to stir the pot between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, as he still wants to convince everybody that Paul Heyman and him are working together, and he's just trying to screw, and Paul Heyman's just going to screw Roman Reigns out of the title at Crown Jewel, which is total bullshit. Lesnar continues to laugh in the ring while confused Reigns flips over a few pieces of furniture in the ring, and the Superstar SmackDown goes off the air with Lesnar laughing at Reigns, turns towards Heyman again. And nobody should give a shit. It's Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, 52, whatever. I don't care. SmackDown outside of the first match, and if you want to say the Usos and them, it was a show that nobody should give a shit about. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. The sooner this shit's over, the better. Obviously, Brock Lesnar. I honestly don't see a reason why Paul Heyman should be turning on Roman Reigns, unless you really want to make Roman Reigns a babyface, which would be a mistake, because babyface Roman Reigns sucks. Because you know the second he goes back to being a babyface, he's going to go back to the same cringy shit that was happening before SummerSlam of 2020. He'll go back to being Superman Roman Reigns instead of head of the table. I don't want to see it. Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns are great together. They still have miles to go with this. Heyman, Brock Lesnar, I don't know what they do after this with him. But nah, it's got to be Roman Reigns winning. There's no reason Roman should be losing this title anytime soon. There is nobody on the active roster, not in WWE's, not on Raw, not on SmackDown, not even in NXT, who could beat Roman Reigns convincingly. But Rampage was good. The buy-in was the best part, outside of CM Punk and Matt Sydal. SmackDown shit as always. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Follow me on Mod at The France Club. Follow me on twitch.tv/The France Club. And follow me on Instagram at The France Club. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Saturday night on TNT. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.